Damn it, cat! Ladies and gentlemen, we here at Bourbon Monday are proud to tell you that we made it to California! And it only took 10 weeks. Not bad, huh? I guess I made a few side trips. But enough of that. Let's get down to business. Bourbon business. This week, I will be reviewing Blanton's. Now, I'm sure this is a bottle that a lot of you have seen in your liquor stores. Mostly because, well, look at it. It's got a horse on the top. Blanton's advertises itself as the original single-barrel whiskey. Now, I don't know about original, but it has always been a single-barrel whiskey. Blanton's hasn't actually been around for very long, only since 1984 when Elmer T. Lee of the Buffalo Trace Distillery introduced it to pay tribute to Colonel Blanton of Kentucky, who spent 55 years of his life working for the Buffalo Trace Distillery and toting the mantra that the best bourbon is handmade. And that's actually a tradition that continues through to this day. Every bottle of Blanton's is painstakingly kept track of in the center section of Warehouse H, the only metal-clad warehouse on Buffalo Trace's property. Warehouse H was actually built by Blanton, commissioned right after the end of Prohibition. Albert Blanton believed that the best bourbon was handmade, and that's a tradition that is shown in his tribute bottle. Each bottle is painstakingly monitored constantly by the master distiller to make sure that the perfect barrels go into Blanton's. And that's no small cost either. As a single barrel bourbon, every drop that went into this bottle came from just one barrel. That means that the barrels that are chosen have to be perfect. Conversely, a small batch bourbon, like many of the bourbons that I've brought on the show, and probably many that you've seen, can draw from 200 to 300 barrels. When you have that many barrels to pull from, it doesn't matter so much how good one barrel is compared to the other, because overall you're looking for a blend. With a single barrel bourbon, you've only got one barrel, so that barrel has to be perfect. Now, another interesting fact about Blanton's is that the cork has a little horse figure on it, and that figure is stamped with a letter of the alphabet. There are apparently 8 different figures. I've got a couple here, and they are all stamped with the letters in Blanton's. Apparently, if you collect all 8 figures on top, a portal will open and Albert Blanton will grace your presence with his ethereal ghost and share with you secrets of making great bourbon. Actually, it'll just spell out Blanton's, and it will show the figure going through an entire horse race from the starting gate to the finish line and winning the race. Blanton's is a rich amber in color. On the nose, it's kind of fruity. I'm getting some aromas of cherry flavors, some corny sweetness, and a little hint of some spicy leather flavors. The palate is very complex. It starts out very smooth and a bit mellow before hitting you right in the face with some really intense caramel and vanilla flavors, as well as a lot of fruity flavors. I'm tasting those cherries again, and maybe a little bit of apples too, before it moves on into a fairly oily finish. The bite that you get at the end, right before the aftertaste, is very intense, but very quick, and it leaves a very oily finish with some sort of sweet corn flavors following through in the end, as well as a bit of vanilla. I'm also tasting a bit of wheat there as well. Add a little bit of water and you get some more fruity flavors coming through on the nose, as well as a much more pronounced flavor of wheat on the palate. The aftertaste also changes just a tiny bit to allow more of the caramel flavors to come through. Blanton's believes that this is one of the finest bottles of whiskey ever produced. I don't know how true that is, but I know that it is one of my personal favorites, and you would definitely be doing yourself a favor if you picked up a bottle. Now, it's not the cheapest, running around $55 to $60 a bottle, but I'd say it's definitely worth it, if just as an occasional or special events type whiskey. Whiskey in the jar.